In this video, we will learn about the dilution of acids and bases. So let us look at two activities before we discuss it. We take some water in a container and we observe the temperature of water. We see that it is around 31 degrees Celsius. Now we take some concentrated sulfuric acid, take a few drops of concentrated sulfuric acid and add it to the water. We stir the mixture and we mix water with sulfuric acid. Now when we observe the temperature, we will see that the temperature rises. So when we add acid, concentrated sulfuric acid to water, we will observe that the temperature of water rises. That is, heat is released. Now observe this activity. Again we take water in a glass and we add some sodium hydroxide. We add some sodium hydroxide and mix it. And now if we touch the base of the glass, we will see that it is warm. That is, the temperature of water rises when we add sodium hydroxide, which is a base to water. So when we add acid to water or when we add base to water, in both the cases, the temperature rises. So we can conclude that in both the experiments, there will be an increase in temperature. Increase in temperature means heat is released. Means heat is released. Now before we move ahead, can you answer this simple question on the basis of what we have just seen? In the experiments we studied, there is a decrease in the temperature observed. Is it true or false? Well, the answer is false, because we have seen in both the cases, in the case of acid, that is concentrated sulfuric acid which we took, as well as in the case of base, that is sodium hydroxide, there was an increase in temperature and the base of the beaker will feel warm. So the base of the beaker, container, glass, whatever you are taking, it will feel warm, which means that heat is given out. And do you know what is the process in which heat is given out called? It is called an exothermic process. So it is an exothermic process where the dissolution means when two things are dissolved together, when two things are mixed together and they completely dissolve together, it is called dissolution. So it is an exothermic process. Exothermic means heat is released. Heat is released. Where the dissolution of sulfuric acid and sodium hydroxide in water releases heat. Dissolution means dissolving. So it releases heat. And this is called dilution of acids and bases. So dilution of acids and bases means when we mix an acid or a base with water, it results in decrease in the concentration of ions. So in the case of acids, it is H3O plus ions, that is hydronium ions, and in the case of bases, it is OH minus ions. So when we mix an acid or a base with water, there is a decrease in the concentration of these ions per unit volume. So initially, if the concentration of these ions was higher, there is a decrease in the concentration or the number of ions per unit volume, and this is called the dilution of acids and bases, and the acids and bases are said to be diluted. So if you take concentrated sulfuric acid and you mix it with water, then we get dilute sulfuric acid, because the number of H3O plus ions per unit volume decreases. Same goes with any alkali or base. Now, when we are dealing with acids, concentrated acids, we have to be very careful about a few things. First and foremost is always add acid to water and never add water to acid. Because if you add water to acid, it may splash and there is a chance of your skin burning. So always add acid to water, slowly, carefully, drop by drop. Always wear safety glasses. So these are some basic precautions you should keep in mind before performing these activities.